Okay, so it comes down to this. England against Italy to win Euro 2020. Time to make some predictions, or at least to analyse what may be happening in the final at Wembley and then try to draw some conclusions from that. I suppose we have to get out there and declare allegiances to start off with. As you probably can tell, I was born in England. I might have spent virtually the whole of my adult life overseas, but my allegiance will always be there, so I'll be cheering for them, I guess. But the beauty of this final is it features my two favourite teams of this entire tournament. In fact, over the piece, I would say Italy have been the best team in the tournament, but England have actually turned into, over the last couple of rounds, the strongest team in the tournament. So little to choose between them. I would say that Italy actually have the best 11 in the competition, but England have the best squad. And that, I think, is going to be maybe the deciding factor in this one. In terms of selection, I don't expect a whole amount of change for either side. There's talk about Berardi maybe coming in to offer a bit more control than the mercurial Chiesa. But I like Chiesa, and I like the fact that he, if we were to broadly stereotype these two sides, sums them up. Italy are full of charisma, from Chiellini and all his antics, of course, in the semi-final ahead of the shootout and elsewhere. They've been playing with purpose. They're playing on the front foot. They're bubbly. They're vivacious. They like to get at teams. England have been very controlled. England have been very conscious of game management, knowing when to attack, knowing when to try and shut the game down. And fascinatingly, this should lead to a really, really good final, in my opinion. Now, I will be watching the game in Singapore, and as with most of these matches, it's a 3 a.m. kickoff. So I have been cancelling anything I might be doing on Monday morning because I think there's every chance that this game could very, very well go the full distance, maybe even as far as penalties. So tight is it between these two sides. However, if I were to look at key areas that might decide this one, in terms of the tactics and the players involved, I think early on we could see Italy being a threat. They do, as I said, like to get on the front foot. And I know particularly down the left-hand side, there's no Spinazzola, who's a huge miss for them. Emerson looked to play in the same role. And what he does is he makes that extra man, linking up with Insigne, who's an interesting customer because he's sort of like a number 10, but he plays out wide. There's a threat down that side. But England are more than capable of counteracting that one because they've got Walker, who has turned into one of the key players in the tournament. Walker, you see, is no longer that guy who bombs forward. Walker, as Southgate and Steve Holland have realised, has this strength, which is his pace of recovery, his ability to read the game. And he really has been a crucial part, whether he's playing in a 4 or a 3 of England's defence. Bukayo Saka may well get the nod again to play because I think he is able to offer something on that side of the pitch as well that might just negate this strength of Italy. Calvin Phillips will go across to the right-hand side whenever there's danger to snuff it out. So too Declan Rice. So England will be mindful of that. I mentioned Rice and Phillips just then. You will see a lot of people talking about Henderson. You'll find some partisan, club-based, calls for this player to play or that player to play. I think one thing we've accepted so far is that Gareth Southgate is his own man. He and his coaching staff know what they want from their players, and the buy-in from the players has been total, 100%. They know why a team has been selected. It's clearly laid out for them. And they also know what they can contribute when they do get their chance on the pitch. Now, this takes me right back to what I said about, Italy's 11 and England's squad and how it could be the deciding factor in this one. What I've seen from Italy so far is that they play with a high intensity, but they can burn out quite early. We've seen the substitutions made very early. You know where I'm going with this. We saw this with England-Denmark, didn't we? Once they made the changes, Denmark, England had the power in reserve. They were able to throw players on, and in Grealish's case, bring him on to do one job and then take him off because that job had been done and it was Trippier's turn to do his job. Gareth Southgate, allied to the fact that they have so many substitutes available to them, has got a real winning hand there. I don't see any reason why he should try to do anything other than control this game as much as he can, as long as he can. If they do go behind, we saw that they responded well against Denmark, but they will look not to go behind in this game, and then turn the screw against an Italian side which could fade as the game goes on, and which of course could struggle a bit when they turn to their bench. Now, Jorginho and company have been expert at managing games as well. Do they have the edge in that midfield? That's going to be a key area. Or are we going to see Luke Shaw doing what he's been doing so well so far and getting forward to telling effect? I think when it comes to the forward lines, I give England the edge. Because if you're going to get past Chiellini and Bonucci, you're not going to do it by going up against them as Lukaku did in the game against Belgium. Instead, what you need to do is have somebody drag them either out, which they may not do, so Harry Kane could then drop into pockets and hurt them from there, or play in such a way that separates them and enables runs to come through. And those runs will come from Saka to an extent, but of course it's Raheem Sterling, who is in the form of his life right now, who could be the player that defines this one. He could find himself winning a golden boot, as could Harry Kane in this game. But Sterling's runs, his willingness to keep running, his energy in behind, could decide this one. I think it's going to be really tight. I really do. And I could just see over a long game, maybe England emerging victorious. But I wouldn't be surprised if, as I said, the best team in the tournament, Italy, finds a way somehow. I'm really looking forward to this one. I know you guys are as well. And I think now is the time for you to have your say on who you think the key personnel will be, what sort of selection Mancini and Southgate will come up with, and of course, what you think the result will be. Enjoy the final, guys.